Hey mates, and welcome to MtMtE's. I'm your host Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be finishing up talking about the individual Aerialbots with Fireflight. That's Fireflight. To anybody who has had trouble figuring out what that name is because their text reader just kind of sucks sometimes at getting, making sure there's a difference between fight and flight. It's a little difficult to hear the difference when you're dealing with an electronic voice. So I'm very happy to VCR Tape Mom for telling me what the correct spelling is in the comments below. I've been asking for that all week, and finally somebody gave it to me, and I'm very happy about that. I know the correct spelling for this guy's name, and I know the correct name. It's Fireflight. Even though Firefight seems like it'd be a cooler name for an F4 Phantom, Fireflight is what we got, sadly. So today we have all of the Aerialbots all positioned together here, and we're just going to do a kind of comparison and talk about Fireflight today in his details in his F4 Phantom mode. So without further ado, let's knock something over, like we always do here at this channel, and talk about things. So let's go ahead and move off nuts. We're going to set you guy here, and we're going to set you... What in the world? We set you there. And then you can sit over here. All right, here we go. We've got Fireflight versus Silverbolt. Silverbolt here is a Concorde, which, I mean, to all of you Zoomers and Alphas out there, you probably don't know what a Concorde is. But Concorde was one of the best jets ever made. It flew people across the Atlantic Ocean in 3 hours or less, depending on winds, and it was famously used by the creator of the Muppets. He flew from New York City. He in the morning at New York City, he was dealing with Sesame Street, and then at night in London, he would be talking with, he would be doing the Muppet Show. So that guy was traveling the ocean multiple times a day. It blew my mind how much that guy worked. It's just outrageous, but he used the Concorde, and this is an amazing vehicle. It sucks that it was so gas heavy, and it ended up, the last flight of the Concorde was a few years ago, which is sad, because it was truly an amazing piece of aerial technology. It is absolutely awesome. So, other than my gushing about the Concorde, which is one of my favorite planes, I have a lot of favorite planes. Let's compare these two. So if we put Fireflight's rear all the way to here, we get, we're going to line up their tail wings together. There we go. And Fireflight's nose goes to right where this, right where the little head pins on the Superion's head that's underneath. The end of one of those head pylons is the length of Fireflight. You can actually flip these guys over and put them nose to face to face like that. There we go. Or we could put them nose to nose, and that's a better example. There we go. Nose to nose, and that's a lot of space behind there. Fireflight is so much smaller than Silverbolt. Weight-wise, Silverbolt definitely wins on that front. Definite difference in weight there. So we're going to set Silverbolt off over... We can set him over here, and we were going to look at... Air Raid. I think this is Air Raid. And it may be the other guy. So, here we go, comparing him to Air Raid / Skydive. We got the backs of them are evened up, and the front, so the nose goes just a bit further by, like, the cone of the nose of the jet, for the difference between Fireflight and Air Raid / Skydive. And you set them, put them bottom to bottom to give you a better idea of what's going on there. Yeah. And yeah, even though Air Raid / Skydive is a longer transformer, turns out that Fireflight's wingspan is greater, but not by much, but it is a little greater than Air Raid / Skydive. We're going to set him over there. I keep saying that because I keep mixing up Air Raid and Skydive. They are so similar. It's easy to confuse them. The only difference is, of course, One has one tail wing, and the other one has two tail wings. So here's the other guy, skydive / air raid, and we've got a comparison here. There we go. And put them nose to nose. That's the best option there. Okay, so no nose to nose, and there's a bit of the back left over. Actually, we just position them there like that. Yeah. Yep, they're about even, but not by much. You know, the leg guy is still a little bit longer, but wingspan wise, they're about the same. So we're gonna set him over there next to his mold mate. And finally, we have Slingshot. And Slingshot here, which I named Slipstream because Slingshot, Slipstream, it was an SS name versus SS name. Though I think Slipstream's a lot cooler than Slingshot, that's for sure. Tail end to tail end, nose to nose, they are the same. They're the same length. They're about the same width, but it does seem like, yeah, they are about the same on every level, even weight-wise. They're about the same. So that is Slingshot. There we go. And finally, we can compare him to their mobile armor. Yeah, because they get a mobile armor. Yeah, we're bringing in Gundam here with mobile armor. Here he is on top of the mobile armor. And, yeah, the mobile armor is much bigger than him. It kind of feels like he can hide inside of the mobile armor. And that would have been neat, is if they had that ability. But that's the mobile armor compared to him. Weight-wise, I don't, the mobile armor weighs more. All right, now let's get into in-depth talking about this figure from nose to tail. It's not going to be a long video today because this guy is kind of short. And please, like, share, and subscribe. It does go a long way to helping me reach more visually impaired and blind people out there. The goal of this channel is to raise awareness and to help the blind and the visually impaired handle the depression that comes with losing your sight. Because, trust me, everybody gets depressed when they lose their sight. It's nobody's special in that one. You're going to be sad. And one of the goals of this channel is to help you find ways so that you're not so sad anymore about losing your sight, and find ways to improve your life. And to those out there who have sight, this channel is a way to raise awareness, to let you know that blind people do exist, and blind people also enjoy the same things that you enjoy as a sighted person. We just enjoy them in a different way. And I felt like this is a great platform to describe that and showcase the differences, the difference between how I enjoy something and how a sighted person may enjoy it. So, little PSA. So let's get back to the video today. So we've got nose cone here for him, and this guy actually, Fireflight, is surprising with all of the little details on him. He's got a lot of little details everywhere. We got little vents on the sides near the tail. That's really neat. He's got on the front, we've got some vents right on the either side of the nose cone, which are the intakes for the engine. And we've got a cockpit here that's got the little roll bar piece in the middle of it. That's a pretty cool little cockpit, honestly. And coming around here to the top, we've got some really good textures here. We got a couple of bumps. So we've got some paneling, where it feels like, this guy's been assembled with different panels. I would love some rivets, but this is a plane, and they have flat rivets. Thanks to the Japanese Zero, honestly. That was the first plane with flat rivets. Isn't that neat? A little historical fact for you. So, on either side, we've got these really well done, smoothed out wingtips. And we even have the etchings in there for the flaps. Gotta love me some flaps. These wings are really good. You flip them onto the underside, and we get the negative on the wings, which there's a lot of waffling on the underside of the wings, which is kind of sad. I wish that there was a way to end that waffling, make the wing nice and pronounced, a little thicker. That would have been cool. Then on the underside of the plane, there's not really much going on, but it is nice and smooth and sleek, which is something you want from the underside of a plane. We got the two little landing gears at the very back end. We've got a landing gear that pops out of his head, the little bitty one, and it doesn't really do much. I think that would have been nice if the landing gears on the back could have actually flipped up just a little bit or folded down. Instead, they're just kind of in their halfway state. So You can rest him on the landing gear, which is something I really approve of. I don't like just resting the character directly on most of the Transformer, because you can scratch that and change its texture a little bit. Coming around here to the back end of the Transformer, we've got its single tail wing. We've got the two little tail things that stick out on either end, and then in the rear we've got these two engines that are kind of weird. Now, you can actually lower that down and showcase kind of the more on the inside of the engine, or you can just kind of halfway close it to be like a giant engine. So that's the description of it. And there's not really much going on with this Transformer because he is so small, and he is a combiner, but the textures are really nice. We don't get as many vents as I would like, but we do get some decent textures with this. You can feel it's a jet plane. Negatives on him are, and it's the same with the other arm guy, a Slingshot. I wish the tail had extended just a bit more, like not even an inch, like half an inch longer, and it would feel better. This plane does feel like a real good plane for the front and the wings, and then you get to the tail, and it's just a bit squat. It feels like this tail should have been just stretched out just a smidge more, just a tiny smidge more. And it would have worked out very well. But that's really kind of my only negative with this guy. He's a combiner arm, so I'm not expecting too much from him because, they had to engineer the other parts of him. But they did a good job making him feel like like Fireflight. He feels good in the hand. And I really appreciate how they could have just left this top smooth, but they didn't. They gave us all of these little panels and things like that in there, and that's the stuff I really appreciate. That's why I'm into Transformers these days, is because of the textures and the sculpting and the molding. These things go a long way to allowing me as a blind person to enjoy this toy. It's why I don't enjoy older Transformers too much, because they didn't really focus so much on the textures. They let the stickers do a lot of the talking. And that's not the case here. We've got some really good sculpt work and texturing right here. Negatives aside, this is a decent little vehicle mode. It's solid, it doesn't flop, and when it transforms, it transforms. And that's the thing I enjoy about good Transformers in vehicle mode. The bad ones kind of fall apart a little bit in vehicle mode, but the good ones are solid and are actually a little difficult to get out of vehicle mode, and that's kind of what you want from a vehicle mode on a Transformer, or robot mode on a Transformer. You want it to be something solid that's difficult to get started in the transformation, but once you get started, it all kind of clicks together and feels really great. So, my final thoughts and feelings on Fireflight here, as Fireflight is going to be an A category for his vehicle mode. No, a B+. He's going to get a B+, because that tail does mess with me. I wish the tail was just a bit longer, but aesthetically, it just screws with my head a little bit. It's in that uncanny valley, that tail. So it's getting a B+, because other than the tail, this is a really well done little jet. And the tail is the same problem I had with Slingshot here. So there's not much difference between the two. I believe I gave Slingshot's vehicle mode a B+ as well. It's decent. It could have been a little bit better, but for what we're getting with the fact that it is a combiner, then it all makes sense and connects together. I think that this is a great addition to your collection as a combiner, including all the pieces. Individually, these Transformers aren't really the best that they could be individually, but you'll see tomorrow when they combine together into Superion, they do make an excellent Transformer. They make an excellent combiner, and I absolutely enjoy it. So please tune in tomorrow, and I will teach you how to assemble Superion from the 5 pieces of from the 5 Aerialbots and their Victoria, their mobile armor system. Yeah, I call it Victoria. Why not? It's just a giant flying brick. And I was like, yeah, that kind of works. The Avengers 2 movie, was it Victoria that he called it? His Hulk armor, which was just a giant floating kind of thing in the air, and it kept giving him more pieces. That's kind of what I imagine this to be. It's just a giant floating platform just flying around at like 45,000 feet or something, waiting for the Aerialbots to call upon it for the transformation, and it kind of gives me Power Ranger vibes. this mobile armor does definitely give me Power Ranger vibes. So without, I think that tomorrow's going to be a very fun episode. I'm just very happy to have completed 2 combiners in a year. I was stressed about making sure I got all the pieces, and thanks to Evan Brooks and the people at Hasbro, I was able to get one incredible piece, and that is Superion. Not Superion. Silverbolt. I was able to get Silverbolt with their assistance. And I thank them so much for that. That was a big help to the channel, and I appreciate you all so much. I love Transformers. I love this transformation stuff. It's just something I enjoy, and I want to share my enjoyment of this with everybody that I possibly can. So, without further ado, I'll let you go for today. I've been Blind Prime, and this guy over here sleeping in the far corner of the table. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Are you camera shy today? Huh? You camera shy? You camera shy? Huh? Huh? Are you a camera shy guy? Yeah? Alright. Thanks for watching. Until next Prime. Bye-bye for now.